Let's walk through an example of using dictionary data and plotting the information we have in there. This will be something that will be helpful for you in homework 4. So the task that we're going to walk through here is, let's take a text and create a dictionary where the keys are the words and the values are the number of times the word is used. And there's a couple of interesting words here, terminology actually, that I'd like to briefly introduce you to. So in corpus linguistics, which is studying over a collection of text or corpus of text, the word token is used to talk about how many words are in the text. And by that, it means sort of the word count that you get if you put a text or did a word count in a text that was in Microsoft Word. It's just going to count every single word. It's not going to pay attention to which word. It's just going to start and count, kind of like you do for an essay, right? That's tokens. So how many tokens is how many words are there in the text. The type is used here, the values, the number of times the word is used. So in other words, for each word, for each individual word, for example, walk would be a word and walking would be a word, autumn would be a word, couch would be a word. It's going to count the number of times it's used. So if you just look at that individual word and don't think of it as, you don't pay attention to how many times it's counted, you just look at, okay, this is a word that occurs in the text. That's the type. The type is a particular word that occurs in the text. So a type in one text would be walked if it's occurred, and walking, if it didn't occur, would not be a type. So it's a very similar concept. It's a little bit hard to distinguish, but can be important in studying. There's looking at the frequency of words. Tokens is just how many words do I have in the corpus, and if then you counted the types, so how many different words do I have, then you would have a good idea of frequent words and patterns of word usage. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of attack this linguistic problem using this toy text. So we have this we've got the text, we put it into a list here, and it's a poem, right? This is the house that Jack built. It's just 2 lines of it. This is the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. So that's our toy text. The first thing we want to do is get the tokens and count how many times they've been used, right? Or get the types, that is, and count how many times each of those types are used. So we're actually not going to pay attention to how many tokens are in the text. We want to count, I mean, we could do that. In a sense, we are doing that, but we're really wanting to look at the types and look at their frequency rather than how many total words. So to do that, instead of just doing a word count or getting the length, we're going to do this loop. So, and we're going to keep the information in a dictionary, which makes sense, right? So we have our type and then we have the frequency. So that's an association between 2 things. So natural data structure to use is a dictionary. So our dictionary word counts, and then we'll loop through our text. And for each word, if the word has already been seen, then we're just going to add 1 to its value. If the word hasn't been seen, so this is the first time we're seeing the word, then we're going to add that word to our dictionary and then give it the value of 1 for the first time that we've seen it. When we run that loop and then print out our dictionary, this is what we get. So our key value pairs, the key is the string, the word, the type, and the value is the number of times that type occurs. Okay, and this, notice we're including the punctuation in this case. We just won't bother taking it off. Keep it simple. So now let's turn it into a list of word count tuples. So what we want to do eventually is to get a good view, a visualization of what our word frequency is. So let's start by taking our words and our counts and turning them into a list of tuples, and then sort it with the most frequent first, or the biggest count of occurrences first. So we've seen this in a previous video, and this is snippets from a bigger code. So you'll see some extra lines here. We'll just look at the ones that are important to what we're doing right now. We're going to create a list, and we're going to take our dot items, which gives us, right, a list of 2 tuples, which is the key value pairs. We're going to take the second pair in each of those tuples and make it the first pair in our new tuple. And what was the first item is now going to be the second item in our new tuple, and append that to our new list. Then we can take our new list, and since we want the biggest number to be first, that's going to be reverse sorting. So we do reverse true, sorted, and then print out the list that returns, which will give us this. So we have a list of tuples with now the most frequent words first and on down the list. Okay, so now we've got them sorted by frequency. Let's get our list of two tuples. And if we want to plot them, we need both of those values to be the axes on our plot. So let's separate them into two separate lists, keeping the same order, words and counts. So the first word in our list of words should correspond to the first number in our list of counts. So we'll create two empty lists, words and counts, and then we're going to loop over the list that we just created, our sorted counts list, and take the first item in each of those tuples and append it to the counts, and the second item and append it to our list of words, which is going to give us, so this is our sorted counts, and we're going to take that, we're going to loop through it, and from that we're going to get two lists. We're going to list of counts and a list of words. If we eyeball this, which is really a good idea to eyeball your data before you go forward, we can see that 3 corresponds to the, which is correct. 3 corresponds to that, which is correct. Is corresponds to 2, which is correct. Great. And then if we go on down, we can see that 1 corresponds to in, which is correct. So it's kept the order that we want. So the first, each index and the counts list corresponds to the index in the words list. So even if they're in a separate list, we can work with them without losing the order. So let's plot this. We've got our counts, we've got them in order, we've separated them to lists, so it's very easy now to plot this. And here's what the code looks like. We'll do our special command for Jupyter to display in line, so right after we run the cell, specific to Jupyter. Import our library, our submodule pyplot from the module matplotlib and rename it PLT. And then we're going to use the bar graph. So we'll do plot.bar. Our x-axis is going to be the number of, is going to be the words. And our y-axis will be the counts. And then of course we have our labels, the x label and the y label. And our command to show it, we run it, and this is what we're going to get. This beautiful graph that shows the frequency of the words, and we can see very easily that the and that are much more frequent. With these few words, it's hard to tell, but we can see that is more frequent than the other words. And then these 3 words are our least frequent one, occurring only once.